One Earth, 64 Systems, on the Mode of Human Survival. Xiafeng. April 13, 2021. Edited by Qin Yu. Inspired by the concept One Country, Three Systems of Mr. Li Liangbin, who is from Jianxi Province, let us explore the future mode of human survival. The most ideal life mode for humanity in the future is the Xiafeng-style communism. However, before that, we can implement the One Earth 64 systems as a transitional mode. The so-called One Earth 64 systems implies that there can exist 64 different life modes on Earth. Let's examine the following scenario. In a circle, there are cows, horses, donkeys, sheep, pigs, dogs, chickens, ducks, and geese. Due to their different habits, food preferences, and physical characteristics, conflicts, arguments, and fights often arise between them. Chickens, ducks, and geese often complain that sheep, pigs, and dogs trampled on their eggs. Sheep, pigs, and dogs frequently lament that cows, horses, and donkeys snatch their food. Cows, horses, and donkeys often grumble about chickens, ducks, and geese defecating in their feeding troughs. All the animals blame each other for excessive flatulence, making it unbearable for anyone. As a result, no one is leading a good life, and it becomes impossible to live under such circumstances. To solve the above problems, moral education is futile and ineffective. The best approach is to separate them and provide each animal with its own enclosed space, corresponding to their species. This way, we can avoid mutual complaints and torment. The human species has some similarities to the livestock mentioned above. Some people prefer the capitalist way of life, while others prefer the primitive tribal lifestyle, socialism, communism, anarchism, democracy, dictatorship, rice, noodles, meat-based diets, vegetarian diets, monogamy, polygamy, or polyandry. The list goes on. When individuals with diverse preferences are forced into the same mode, conflicts, arguments, and even physical fights are unavoidable. The way to eliminate contradictions and conflicts among individuals is to allow them to live in their respective spheres, where they can find peace and happiness. Therefore, my idea is the One Earth 64 systems approach. For example, all white people could gather in Europe, black people in Africa, and yellow people in Asia. This would eliminate racial discrimination. Those who prefer the capitalist system could come together to engage in capitalism, while those who prefer the socialist system could come together to practice socialism, and those who prefer the communist system could come together to pursue communism. Similarly, those who embrace Christianity could gather in one place, those who follow Islam could gather in another place, and those who practice Buddhism could gather in yet another place, and so on. Likewise, those who enjoy noodles could eat noodles, those who prefer rice could eat rice, those who enjoy meat-based diets could come together, and those who prefer vegetarian diets could gather as well. Those who prefer monogamy could form their own society, those who prefer polygamy or polyandry could form their own society, and those who advocate for a society without marriage could form their own community for shared relationships. In this way, just like providing separate spaces for cows, horses, donkeys, sheep, pigs, dogs, chickens, ducks, and geese, humans no longer need to argue and fight with each other due to differences in personality, interests, and so on. Why 64 systems? Because human survival requires 64 elements, and none can be omitted. Do you see it? Cows, horses, donkeys, sheep, pigs, dogs, chickens, ducks, and geese are arguing together without any value or meaning, and their arguments will never end. Arguments between humans are also without value or meaning. The best solution is to live our own lives according to our own preferences. Can the above ideals be realized? Certainly not, because those in power won't allow it. Therefore, this proposal is only meant to bring some amusement to everyone when they have enough to eat and drink and have nothing else to do.
把每件小事做完美，你就是非凡之人。
Completing every little thing perfectly makes you extraordinary. Xie Feng. April 23, 2021. Edited by Qin Yu. As someone in their 60s, I have some life insights and experiences to share with young people, which will undoubtedly benefit you greatly. The most valuable insight and experience from my half-century of life is that by completing every little thing you do perfectly, you become an extraordinary individual, and your life path will only grow wider as you continue. What are the small things you should strive for perfection in? The answer is that every small thing you do each day should be worth doing perfectly. Here are some examples. When interacting with others, whether serving or cooperating with them, always make an earnest effort to bring joy and satisfaction to others. This is especially true when dealing with your superiors, elders, or those who excel in their careers. Let them know that you respect them and are willing to serve them. When performing tasks, never have even the slightest hint of complaints or half-heartedness. When collaborating with others, be willing to give more and enjoy less, making the experience comfortable and valuable for the other person. When interacting with your blood relatives, such as parents, children, siblings, and other relatives, or with your spouse, in-laws, and their relatives, do not focus on personal interests. Instead, give your utmost effort to do things well to the best of your ability. Never expect rewards. Simply express your best qualities and make everyone feel secure and comfortable when they are with you. Most young people will work for private employers or become government employees as civil servants. Regardless of the character of your boss or immediate superiors, regardless of your salary and other benefits, and regardless of whether the working environment satisfies you or not, you should strive to perform the tasks you are engaged in to the highest possible level. Never think that you are working for your boss or the country, or that your efforts are not worth it. Either quit and leave or put your heart and soul into doing the job well. Whether in interpersonal relationships or in your work, always remember that there are one or several pairs of eyes constantly watching you. Even when you are alone, there are eyes watching. This is the secret I discovered after becoming a guide in Life Genuine. Moreover, be aware that the people watching you are not those of lower or equal level to you. They are always more advanced and outstanding than you. They are the ones who determine whether your future will be smooth. If you fail to do small things well, your path will become narrower as you go. But if you excel in every little thing, your path will widen as you move forward. Every word spoken and every action taken by a person is recorded in the detention information space. Even if tens of thousands of years pass or the Earth disappears, everything recorded in the detention information space will not disappear. Once a word is uttered or an action is taken, it is impossible to change it. Nowadays, the online world and platforms like WeChat provide a vast space for us to showcase our talents. However, we must be vigilant because every word we speak in the online world or in WeChat groups, etc., will influence our future. Every word and every action pave the way for our future. Speaking perfectly and doing every little thing perfectly paves the way to heaven, while speaking and acting in an ugly way paves the way to hell. As I said before, what information you input into the world determines what results the world will give you. Therefore, be cautious with every word you speak and put your heart and soul into completing every little thing perfectly. Every word we speak and every action we take fully reflects our inner world and life qualities. It is important to be aware that sometimes a single word we speak or a small thing we do can change the trajectory of someone's life. All the words we say and the things we do collectively shape the trajectory of our lives. Extraordinary lives are those who complete every little thing perfectly.
不幸是生命旅途上转折的起点。
Misfortune is the starting point of turning points on the journey of life. Xie Feng. January 9, 2022. Edited by Qin Yu. As a guide in Life Genuine, I understand that Life Genuine members who follow the guide to climb the peak of life know that whether it's the articles I write or myself, everything is presented truthfully and transparently to the public. I have nothing to hide or conceal. I am transparent, I am real. There is no hypocrisy, no artificiality, no pretense, no schemes, no tactics. What I say may not be completely correct, and what I do may not be flawless, but what I say and do is a genuine expression of my true self. I speak out about the insights, experiences, and viewpoints I have gained on my journey of life, hoping that they may have some value as references. I experienced the years of hunger in 1958 and 1960 and almost starved to death. That was misfortune. However, the result of this misfortune is that I have found every meal I eat in my life to be delicious, whether it's the sour taste of Northern cuisine, the spicy taste of Central cuisine, or the sweet taste of Southern cuisine. Whether it's Chinese, Western, or African cuisine, they are all enjoyable. This is because I have a belief in my heart that simply having enough food to fill our stomachs in life is happiness. In 1980, I studied at Zhangjiago Geological Technical School, specializing in being a fitter. During one semester, I was assigned to the automotive repair workshop to learn car mechanics. The master had 2 apprentices, and one day the master asked his 2 apprentices to let me practice driving by taking the car to the school playground. The older apprentice explained to me how to operate the car and then got out of the car. However, the younger apprentice grabbed the steering wheel and started the car, practicing without ever letting me drive. During the practice, students from the fitter class and mechanic class came to the playground for physical education, and the younger apprentice was driving in a reckless manner. It was unfortunate for me that the younger apprentice didn't let me drive, but this misfortune saved me from disaster. Every time I think of that scene sitting in the driver's seat on the school playground, watching the younger apprentice nervously practicing driving, I am grateful that fate didn't let me drive that day. If the person holding the steering wheel had been me instead of the younger apprentice, I could have driven and hit many classmates with terrible consequences. I might have been born with the qualities to become an official. During my primary school, middle school, technical school, college, and the first semester of university, I was almost always the class monitor. At the age of 18, I became the deputy secretary of a brigade managing 11 production teams. In 1984, I was designated as the director of the 3rd echelon in the geological hydrology 3rd team. In 1988, I was designated as the principal of a school for children of employees in the Geological Bureau. In 1992, I was designated as the director of a prospecting machinery factory. Unfortunately, I messed up all these positions because I didn't take those official positions seriously. Looking back today, this misfortune was actually a great blessing. If I had become an official at the time, according to what my wife said in 1993, I would have already been the governor of Gansu province. If that were the case, there would be a 90% chance that I would have become a corrupt official and could have ended up in prison. Even if I didn't end up in prison, my name would certainly be infamous throughout history. In 1994, while I was abroad, the official's vehicle broke down. I was asked to drive it to Blavoy, more than 200 kilometers away, for repairs. As I was the translator, no one else could handle it. The owner of the repair shop was a white person who said it would take 3 days to fix the car, so I handed the car over to the repair shop and returned to the base. However, that evening, I was subjected to the official's insults. He wanted me to fix the car and bring it back the same day. Faced with such irrational treatment from my superior, I quit on the spot. This unfortunate event led me to leave the system I had finally entered. Later, I started my own business and embarked on the path of self-reliance. Thanks to the irrational insults from the official, I finally found my path to freedom. At a time when there were very few private cars in China, I already had a sedan and a van, and I was living in a spacious villa with a front and backyard and a swimming pool. I employed 2 people to maintain the garden and clean and wash clothes for me. Over 20 years ago, I had a car accident, an unfortunate event. However, it was that car accident that became a major turning point on my journey of life, completely changing the trajectory of my life and leading me onto the way of the greatest creator, finding the way to heaven. In China, due to the establishment of Life Chanuan and the Second Home, I faced suppression from the government. Over 10 communities were destroyed. This was misfortune. But precisely because of these misfortunes, I was pushed to Canada. In Canada, the land is vast, and I live on 40,000 square meters of private land. According to my friends, where I live is a mansion with 10 bathrooms, 2 washrooms, and 6 showers. I enjoy a peaceful, harmonious, and secure heavenly life. From the aforementioned unfortunate events, what have we realized? In fact, when we encounter unfortunate events, we feel anxious, suffer, worry, and even become resentful. However, in most cases, misfortune is precisely the turning point in life. It is truly said, good fortune lies within bad and bad fortune lurks within good. When we understand this, when faced with misfortunes on the journey of life, we face them calmly, accept them willingly, and may even secretly rejoice. Therefore, when misfortune befalls us, we must remain calm, not panic, not go mad, not complain, and certainly not become angry. As long as we are alive, we can await the day when the clouds disperse and flowers bloom. The members of Life Genuine all know that when I lost sight in one of my eyes, everyone worried about me. But I smiled and declared, "Ha! From now on, I can see everything clearly with just one eye. Since the day I began losing my eyesight until today, I haven't really cared about the loss of one eye. Who knows whether it is a good thing or a bad thing?" When the Chinese government released a video message calling the second home created by Life Genuine an evil community, I laughed and felt delighted all day long. How marvelous! Darkness curses the light, and the light becomes even brighter. Calling me Xiefeng, evil only serves to prove that it is a case of thieves crying, "Catch the thief." As a result, the status, value, and significance of Life Genuine in history will shine even more brilliantly, and future generations will have profound respect when they hear about Life Genuine. When numerous unfortunate events occur on the journey of life, congratulations! The gates of heaven have already opened for you. Misfortune is the starting point of turning points on the journey of life. Please cherish misfortune.
仇富必将贫穷。
Hating the wealthy will lead to poverty. Xiefeng. January 12, 2022. Edited by Qin Yu. Philosophy tells us that the principle of unity of opposites is universal in the universe. For everything, there exists something that is its opposite. If there is an up, there must be a down. If there is beauty, there must be ugliness. If there is wealth, there must be poverty, and so on. This existence of opposites is not only reflected in the external world but also within ourselves. It means that within the same person, there can also be opposing aspects. For example, if you dislike wearing clothes, then you can only be naked. If you dislike the truth, you can only live in falsehood. If you dislike men, you can only become a woman. Therefore, if you hate the wealthy, you will inevitably head towards poverty. From this, we discover a pattern. Things tend to move towards their despised opposite. Based on this pattern, we can draw the following conclusions. If you hate heaven, you will move towards its opposite hell. If you hate hell, you will move towards its opposite heaven. If you despise landlords, capitalists, and the wealthy, then you will move towards being a poor farmer, a wage laborer, or a beggar. If you despise violence, you will move towards peace. Likewise, if you despise peace, you will move towards violence. If a country eliminates all the rich people, that country will inevitably move towards poverty. If a country despises civilization, it will move towards ignorance and backwardness. If all members of a nation respect, admire, and protect the wealthy, that nation will move towards prosperity and strength. On the contrary, if everyone discriminates against, insults, and suppresses the wealthy, that nation will move towards poverty, backwardness, and weakness. Likewise, if a nation, a country, despises nations and countries that are wealthier and more civilized than itself, that nation and country will inevitably move towards poverty, isolation, backwardness, ignorance, and barbarism. From this, we can draw another conclusion: you will move towards what you like. If you like cleanliness and tidiness, you will get rid of filth and messiness. If you like wealth, you will overcome poverty. If you like saints, you will transcend being a laity or mortal. If you like freedom, you will break free from the shackles of slavery. If you like heaven, you will escape the engulfment of hell. Our reality is created by our consciousness. A consciousness of poverty can only create a reality of poverty, and only a consciousness of wealth can create a life of abundance. Just look at Israel and Japan, and then look at Zimbabwe and Venezuela. The logic is evident. Do you want to live in heaven? If so, you must first have the consciousness of heaven. How can you have the consciousness of heaven? Take a look at my descriptions of the 1,000-year world, 10,000-year world, and the Elysium Celestial Islands continent. With those descriptions, you can have the consciousness of heaven. If you don't believe in my description of heaven, then look at the production and living scenes in the real second home on earth. They can also nurture the consciousness of heaven. Without the consciousness of heaven, no matter how much you practice or strive, you will never reach heaven. In conclusion, hating the wealthy will lead to poverty. Consciousness determines one's present situation and future.
如何走出痛苦？
How to break free from suffering. Xiefeng. January 15th, 2022. Edited by Qin Yu. Feeling uncomfortable, depressed, troubled, anxious, worried, fearful, disappointed, and hopeless are forms of suffering. Suffering originates from three aspects: physical, mental, and spiritual. Physical pain can be endured and healed, and spiritual pain can be eliminated by establishing faith in the greatest creator. However, suffering arising from the mind is difficult to overcome and dissolve. Mental suffering stems from a lack of freedom, whether it be physical, mental, financial, or in one's actions. Any form of restriction on freedom can lead to mental anguish. Therefore, the core root of mental suffering lies in the inability to experience freedom. To break free from mental suffering, the first step is to identify the root causes that lead to such suffering and eliminate them, thereby allowing mental suffering to disappear. How can we find these causes? Start from the closest and move towards the farthest. Because the closer something is, the more likely it is to cause suffering, while the farther away it is, the easier it is to bear the resulting pain. Starting from the closest, the people who have a close relationship with oneself are likely to be the source of mental suffering. Spouse, parents, children, siblings, relatives, neighbors, colleagues, friends, superiors, subordinates, teachers, masters, partners, fellow practitioners, etc. Moving towards the farthest, factors that cause mental suffering mainly come from thieves, bullies, hooligans, gangs, families, tribes, extremist groups and organizations, nations, states, governments, political parties, and religions, etc. For example, restrictions on physical freedom mainly come from marital relationships. Restrictions on mental freedom mainly come from political parties and religions. Restrictions on financial freedom mainly come from relatives and market monopolies. And restrictions on freedom of movement mainly come from the machinery of the state. When faced with suffering, moral education and preaching from sages and religious doctrines hardly have any effect. Spiritual practices and inspirational quotes may temporarily numb the pain. So-called spiritual cultivation and chicken soup for the soul are merely scratching the surface. And the fundamental solution lies in rebuilding the order of human production and life. The measures and pathways to completely eliminate individual and human suffering are as follows. Eliminate marriage and dissolve families. Political parties should not be involved in government management. Religion should not participate in government affairs. Open borders among countries and allow people to freely move and migrate. Promote the production and life mode of the second home of Life Genuine. All global citizens move towards the era of Life Genuine. I have prepared the path for the happiness of all humanity, from theory to practice. The future form of human society will neither be a legalistic form like the United States nor a rule by man like China. Instead, it will be a holographic way guided by saints and managed by sages. At that time, the state of society will be, the talented will be put to good use and the whole world will be one family. No one will pocket anything found on the ground and doors are not bolted at night. The young being well educated and the old being looked after properly. People fully display their talents and resources are fully utilized. Everyone fulfills their responsibilities, living in peace and prosperity. The world will be harmonious, with favorable weather conditions, thriving industries, wealthy and abundant, and suffering will disappear forever from now on.
走出思维迷思一
How to Break Free from Mental Fallacies, Part 1. Xiefeng. March 2, 2022. Edited by Qin Yu. Those who focus on the outcome of life are the most unfortunate, while those who enjoy the present are the most carefree. Many people tend to weigh the pros and cons, look ahead, and consider all the possible obstacles and difficulties before making plans or decisions. I want to say that this is a mental fallacy and a mindset that leads to a pessimistic life. For example, if a couple planning to get married knows that they will divorce 10 years later, they might choose not to get married at all, and even if they do get married, their days will not be as sweet. On the other hand, if they are unaware of the future divorce, they can experience a period of sweetness and enjoy a wonderful time during their love and marriage. Suppose Life Genuine had informed all the Chanyuan Celestials before creating the second home that no matter how many communities we build, they will eventually be destroyed by the government. In that case, would Chanyuan Celestials still have the enthusiasm and passion to create numerous communities? Would they still put meticulous effort into building beautiful and magnificent communities? Of course not. If the results were not revealed in advance, Chanyuan Celestials would wholeheartedly and passionately create communities, even if they were eventually destroyed. What would be the significance in that? Now I ask, are there any Chanyuan Celestials who regretted their decision to participate in the creation of communities? I speculate that there isn't a single one. Why is that? It's because we have experienced a way of life that 99% of humanity has never experienced during the process of creating communities. Through first-hand experience, we have come to know the existence of the 1,000-year world, and from there, we can deduce the existence of the 10,000-year world and the Elysium Celestial Islands continent. At the same time, we have experienced true happiness, joy, freedom, and bliss. As a result, our vision has expanded, our mindset has grown, our state of being has elevated, and our understanding of the current state of human society has deepened. Most importantly, our consciousness has transformed from human consciousness to celestial consciousness. This is a leap in life, a transformation, and an adventure on the glorious journey of life. Therefore, I speculate that no Chanyuan Celestial regrets immersing themselves in the life of creating communities. Therefore, we come to a thinking conclusion. Engage in life, engage in creation, but do not dwell on the difficulties that may arise during the process, and do not ponder over the outcome, because the outcome is within the process itself. If the process is beautiful, life will be more meaningful, and the result of life is bound to be beautiful. So, do not pursue the outcome of life, for the outcome of life is death. What we pursue is the result of life. When life is elevated, no matter how the process of life unfolds, it will be meaningful and valuable. Even if the government repeatedly destroys the communities we have built, we have already obtained what we were meant to obtain and will never regret it. Look at the historical figures. The outcomes of their lives are almost always unfortunate. Knowing that life can be unfortunate, yet people in the present still passionately strive, struggle, worry, suffer, laugh, and cry. This grand drama of life on the stage continues to play out without any novelty. Those who understand this truth live extraordinary, romantic, carefree lives, while those who do not understand this truth not only lead unfortunate lives but also face even more unfortunate outcomes in life. This is called awakening, also known as enlightenment.
走出思维迷思2
How to Break Free from Mental Fallacies, Part 2. Xiafeng. March 3, 2022.